Test 1, 2. Okay.
Okay, that's good. Tiffany Teo, how does it feel to be signed to 1FC? How does it feel to be a 1FC fighter?
When the contract first came about, I was surprised, I would say. I was fighting like local shows. One of the first shows I fought for MMA was a Singapore Fighting Championship. And after that I fought in Full Metal Dojo. So I think after my second professional MMA fight, Victor from One Championship, he contacted my coach back then and asked, if I want to fight for One Championship. But I still felt like I was pretty raw as a
Pretty
MMA
green,
fighter.
okay.
Yeah. And I felt like I wanted to gain more experience before signing to a big organization like 1FC.
Okay.
So I had another fight in Full Metal Dojo and they contacted me again after that fight. And they were really sincere about signing me. So yeah, I decided to take a leap of faith, and that's how I got signed to One. Like even till today, looking back at like all the fights I've had, I still consider myself a really fresh professional MMA fighter. I have 0 amateur MMA fights, fought a few amateur boxing fights, and just hop right onto MMA. So I still feel like I'm really fresh, and I'm still growing, learning a lot every day as a MMA fighter.
We are at podcast number 24. You're my 24th guest. Yeah, I think you're probably my second fighter. The first is probably Ridwan.
Ridwan, yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to have someone in combat sports with a female perspective. Do you grow up watching UFC and all
no,
that?
that's the crazy thing. Like, I didn't grow up watching any fights at all. Like,
Okay.
I didn't start fighting because I was a fight fan, and when I grew up, I didn't watch any boxing or UFC. It was only after I started training. Then I started watching more grappling matches, more boxing, more UFC matches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was your first gym?
My first gym was Ban Nak Muay. After that, Vanda Boxing took over.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been training with them since.
Oh, okay. So you knew like Ryan before
Yeah, I used to train with Ryan. Yeah,
Okay.
he used to be a member at Vanda,
yeah.
and now he's like a coach.
he's a coach
so,
now, yeah.
Back then when I was training, it was Zigzag. He was taking the Muay Thai program.
Okay. So you did Muay Thai first?
Yeah, when I started at Vanda, I only did Muay Thai. I went for a few boxing class, and I just preferred kicking.
Okay. What else can you do? Okay, you do Muay Thai, you do boxing, MMA. What else can you do?
Jiu-jitsu and Olympic wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well-rounded
Yeah.
fighter. When you given the contract for 1FC, did you sign straight away?
No, I didn't. So
It was quite intimidating, was it, for you?
yeah, I feel like it was a huge leap of faith, and the level was like, it was a different level, you know. Yeah.
Okay. What was the pressure? It just felt like you just wasn't ready enough.
Yeah, I just felt like there's still a lot for me to improve. Yeah,
Okay.
as a fighter, and I felt like signing to One Championship was quite a big step up. Especially back then, it was only my second professional fight, and I was coming with like 0 amateur MMA experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the process like when it comes to you getting your fight? The 1FC guys text you and then you get a
Yeah,
you get a
so-
WhatsApp. Oh, you got a fight coming
Yeah,
up on
pretty
this date.
much. They will like message me or email me, and they will tell me like,
Oh, it's the process is as simple as that.
yeah, it's a really simple process, and
Okay.
but usually they will inform me that they would like me to fight on this event, like at least 6 weeks notice.
Okay.
So it's like ample time for proper prep.
Yeah.
So yeah, they will ask if I'm if I want to fight. Like they'll let me know the date, and I'll tell them, and if I'm okay with it, then they will tell me who I'll be fighting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't get to choose your opponent or whatever.
No,
right?
we sadly no.
Alright. So if you fight overseas, they fly you there?
Yeah, so for overseas fight, they will fly me and one cornerman, and accommodations, and it's all provided. Yeah.
That's good. Your first fight, when you finally decided to sign with 1FC and the preparation for the first fight, walk us through the whole experience. Like, the first day when you found out that you got a fight in 1FC.
For my first 1FC debut, the prep was pretty much like my first 2 or 3 professional fight. Like, it's still MMA at the end of the day, so it was the same prep. Focus on striking, on the grappling aspect, on wrestling. So yeah.
Are you always on weight or do you still have to cut?
I have to watch my weight a bit, especially when the fight is nearing. So, of course, when I'm off season, my diet goes a bit crazy, like most fighters.
What weight do you fight again?
I fight in One Championship is called straw weight because they have a weight range. Yeah, but if it's in UFC, it's actually flyweight because I have to
Okay.
make 56.8.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's the weight cap for UFC, it's under flyweight. Yeah, it's a bit confusing. Yeah.
Okay. But you walk around 56?
59 flying 60.
Okay, so
yeah,
just
just
go for a couple of runs and you'll be okay.
Yeah, or I'll just diet a bit before the fight and I'll be on weight.
It's not that stressful. I know a lot of people who do very stressful weight cut.
Yeah, that's
for
the thing
fight.
with one championship, because you have to pass the hydration test. So it will be a 2-day weigh-in and you have to make weight on both days and pass the hydration test.
Okay.
So if you fail the hydration test, it's considered as you not making the weight.
Oh.
So this prevents people from doing drastic weight cuts.
Oh, they don't want that, is it? They don't
they don't want that.
They don't encourage it.
Yeah.
But UFC doesn't have this hydration.
Nah, UFC, they don't have this water
hydration. You have to be hydrated in UFC.
Yeah.
To make your weight.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea about that. The hydration cut.
Yeah, so it prevents fighters from, because you can't do drastic, you can't cut 8 kg for 2 days.
They want to make sure that you are
walking around your fight
weight.
weight, at most maybe 2 kg, 2 kg cut. Yeah.
Well, there's quite a lot of discipline to be signed to that company.
You gotta make sure that you're walking around that weight throughout the whole camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going through your first fight, stepping into the octagon, what was the experience like? Your friends and family there with you?
My first fight, my friends and family, they were all there. My first one championship fight was the first time my parents actually watched me fought. So before that, even my amateur bouts, amateur boxing days, and my first few professional fights, they have never been to my fights. Okay. So it was a pretty overwhelming experience, not just for them, for me too. As like I said, when I first started competing in MMA, I was fighting in smaller promotions, like Fullmetal Dojo and Singapore Fighting Championship. And those people who came for the fights, who came to support, I know them. I've seen them. They are like either from the gym, from other gyms. So when I fought for one championship, it was really overwhelming when I was walking out from the stage. Like the crowd was cheering for me, and it was my first fight. The whole experience I was just overwhelmed, and I would say my first one championship debut, I was really nervous, and I feel like if you watch the fight, you could tell that I wasn't fighting the way that I usually would. The nerves did get to me a little bit, but after a few fights, I got used to the whole experience. I know what to expect, and I'm coping pretty well with I'm coping well with the nerves now.
Okay. Do you finish off a lot of your opponents, or is it a lot of submissions?
I would say 50-50. I have a few TKOs and a few submissions and one decision.
Okay. Which of your 8 fights, throughout the rounds, you felt that you probably did not have that fight, but you actually won the fight?
So far throughout all my fights, I felt like was pretty dominant in most of the rounds. Even for the fights that went to decision, like the fight against Rebecca Heinzman in Singapore. Honestly, that was my favorite fight. I felt like my performance, it was one of my best performance for that fight. Like I could showcase, not just my striking and also the grappling aspect. Before that, most of my opponents, they were strikers. So they try to keep the game stand up. So
but you're quite all rounded, so that
I'm comfortable with both. So for my first few fights, it was mostly trying to strike with the striker. So against Rebecca Heinzman, I could showcase my grappling skills. That was one of my favorite fights.
In the octagon, what do you remember? Are you constantly juggling between focusing on your opponent, listening to your coaches, or listening to the crowd? What was going through your mind during your fights?
I kind of zone out when I'm in the octagon. So what happens is, I can still hear the crowd cheering and all. But
does it affect your concentration?
A little bit, but I feel like it's a good thing.
It fires you up,
kind of. It motivates you a little bit, and it fires you. Especially, I remember my very first fight in one championship. Every takedown I landed, the crowd was cheering for me, and that bout was in Singapore, so it's like
got home ground.
Home ground support and an advantage. It's a nice feeling every time you land a punch. The crowd cheers for you. Every time you have a takedown, it's like it wows the crowd. But I try to not let that affect me, so I'll try to just focus on my opponent, what's in front of me, and also listen to my cornerman, hear what they want me to do. Because sometimes when you're in the octagon,
as a fighter, do you follow whatever your cornerman says? Because you are so engrossed in the fight. So, how much of the cornerman's voice do you actually get to?
It's surprisingly, it's pretty clear.
So you hear everything.
You can hear everything, and of course they'll be shouting at the top of their voice to make sure that you can hear them. So
at the end of the day, your cornerman is your cornerman, right? But they are not standing in a ring like you.
That's right.
So you get to choose whether you need to listen to them or not.
So, but most of the time, I'll try to do what they advise me to do. And if it works, I'll just keep doing. If it doesn't work, I'll just mission abort and try another game plan.
What's your most effective submission?
I would say rear naked choke. Who
taught you the rear naked choke?
My first grappling coach was Major Overall.
That's his name, Major Overall.
Yeah, I know, right? He has a really cool name.
Is this his real name or?
Yeah, it's his real name.
Major Overall.
Yeah, I didn't believe it at first too. I was like, nah, you gotta show me your passport. And then when he showed me his passport, I'm like, nah, it's a fake passport. It's like, why is your name so cool?
Major Overall.
Yeah, apparently his grandma gave him that name.
Okay, is it about Major? M-A-J-O-R.
Yeah, Major.
Wow. Okay,
Overall.
he got a rank in his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have to salute him every time you see him.
Yeah, so he was one of my first grappling coach.
Okay, so in hindsight, was that like a particular submission that you kept working on, and so it became effective for your fight, or it just so happens that during most of your fights, the opportunity arises for you to use that particular submission?
Yeah, I think it's more of opportunity. Yeah,
Okay.
like when I roll on a regular basis.
But it's more so you set up for the opportunity, right? You need to
get into certain positions.
Yeah, get them into a certain position and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's amazing. What has your family and your friends? Pretty sure they are all supportive, but was your mom?
Yeah, it took them a while to be supportive, especially my family.
It's not a nice feeling to see
Yeah,
your daughter
it's not. Like, honestly, my last fight, I felt really bad for my parents.
The last fight?
Yeah, my last
Were
fight.
they there to see you?
My mom wasn't there, but my dad was there in
Okay.
Jakarta live. So after the whole fight, I was talking to some of the staff from 1FC. So my dad, he was sitting like really right behind, like really far away from the cage.
Okay.
But he was shouting so loud, like the people in front could all hear him. Yeah, and they were telling people knew that he was my dad. Like it was my dad cheering for me. Yeah, after my fight, I got injured pretty bad. Like, I couldn't open my eyes.
Yeah, I proposed to do the podcast like way before your
Yeah,
fight.
yeah.
But you were not in one thing, you were not in Singapore, and then like it took a while because you had to recover from your injuries as well.
Yeah.
What injuries did you sustain from your previous fight?
Mostly superficial injury. Like I didn't break anything.
Bruises,
so-
but your ear was really
yeah,
bad,
because
right?
even before the fight, I already had a bit of cauliflower because I was resting a lot for my last camp. Yeah, so I got cauliflower from
What's a cauliflower for people who don't know MMA?
So basically, it's like if you wrestle a lot, or sometimes boxers they get it too. Like if there's a lot of impact to your ear over time, it will kind of swell up, and there will be some
Dense?
Yeah, there will be fluid inside.
Okay.
So you kind of have to drain it, because if you don't drain it, it will harden and it will look really ugly.
Okay, you have ugly ears for the rest of your life.
Yeah. But the thing is, even if you drain it, like if you drain it too late or anything, it's like it will still look a bit deformed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you use a needle to poke out?
Yeah. So they'll use a syringe to like suck out the blood. And for mine, it was pretty bad, because I think the inside was a bit inflamed. Yeah, they gave me antibiotics, like oral antibiotics. It wasn't working, so I had to stay in the hospital for like 6 days so that I can have the antibiotics through IV drip. Yeah.
But thank God you have long hair, so you can
I can cover my ear. Yeah, like honestly, people don't notice it until they really take a close look at your ear.
Honestly, ears are ears, so it's not like
it's still functional.
You have to be thankful that you can actually hear.
Yeah.
So getting back to your latest fight, I'm pretty sure that was your toughest fight that you've had so far.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Like it's the toughest fight I've had.
What's the difference between that opponent and your previous opponent?
I would say she's really aggressive and she's relentless. We kind of didn't know much how she would fight if the fight progressed, through like 4 or 5 rounds, because
it was hard to predict.
almost all of her wins, I think she has 10 fights when she was fighting me, 9 or 10 fights, and almost all of her wins are in the first round via knockout or technical knockout.
Okay.
Yeah, so
there was nothing to study about her.
Yeah, there's nothing much. So she's like the only thing that we could get out, we could understand from her past fight was that she's really aggressive. She's going in for the kill, and she's not that technical with her punches. She's really wild.
Okay, but
she's really explosive.
But you didn't manage to last more than.
Yeah, I lasted four rounds with her.
You lasted 4 rounds. Wow, the first person to last 4 rounds with her.
Yeah, the first person. Yeah.
It really took her to. Was she surprised? Because I appreciate.
Yeah, she was really surprised.
Okay, so first of all, you said that your coaches didn't know what she would do for future rounds, right? For further rounds. I'm pretty sure she also doesn't know
exactly, because she hasn't been to that place.
To round 2 and round 3.
Yeah, because one of the things I've noticed was that she was really explosive. But the thing is, like, I didn't know if she would be that explosive if the fight goes on to the 4th or 5th round. Usually you're tired out, and she did. She was still really aggressive and explosive. Yeah. So the judge's decision was like a technical knockout, but I didn't get knocked out. It's like I fell to the ground. I wanted to go for a sweep sweep from the ground. But yeah,
Just lost your balance, is it?
no, I didn't lose my balance. I fell back on purpose to
Okay.
sweep her, but I was taking way too much damage, and the ref and judges, they were close to like stopping the fight, I think in the third round. So with all the damage and me falling back to sweep her, like the ref just decided to call the fight off, like for my safety. Like, I was kind of pissed at first, but after that, after I calmed down and I tried to put myself in his shoes, I was like, yeah, that's his job. He's there to protect me. Yeah.
What was going through your mind? I know you were fuming mad, but
was-
you still wanted to carry on the.
I wanted to
You
carry on. Yeah, like I knew that I was taking a lot of damage, but I felt like it's MMA, there's still a chance of winning. Yeah, like anything can happen in an MMA fight, especially with the small gloves.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I wanted to keep going on.
Was the pain from your injuries really overbearing?
During the fight, honestly, I didn't feel much pain.
Because you're so focused.
And also the adrenaline rush. So yeah, but after the fight, that was brutal.
Everything pain here and there.
It was crazy because my eyes, it was hurt pretty badly. Like I had cornea scratch and
Oh man.
and the soft tissue, like the lower part of my right eye, it was damaged too. Yeah, and
Do you have to pay for your own medical?
Oh no, that's the thing. One championship, they took really good care of me.
Oh,
Like
that's
they
good.
paid for my medical. Yeah, so I was in the hospital within like less than half an hour after my fight. Yeah, because there was a hospital really near the stadium in Jakarta.
Okay.
Yeah, so the funny thing was after my fight, I started crying because it was my first loss. I was devastated. At first, I could open my eye, and I think it was still the adrenaline. Like I didn't really feel the pain. But when the adrenaline started to die off, my eyes started to hurt, and I couldn't open my eyes at all. And I was still crying, and then I realized that crying makes my eyes hurt more. So the thought process was like,
Stop crying.
like what the hell, man? Like you lost your first fight and you can't even freaking cry now. Like how bad can things get? Yeah. But in retrospect, it was like quite a funny experience.
Knowing that it was your title fight, the training must be at least twice as intense than your other
Yeah,
training, right?
like I trained more for this title fight, I would say, because it's 5 rounds. Like I had to make sure that my cardio
Stamina,
was
you know.
there, stamina. Yeah, so the training is a little bit different from regular 3 rounds fight. Yeah, and for my last fight, I went to Tiger Muay Thai to prep for it. So the first 2 weeks, I did it at Team Highlight Reel. Initially, I was debating whether to stay or to go to Tiger Muay Thai because a lack of sparring partner has always been an issue for me. Training in Singapore, especially for looking for female MMA sparring partners. If you find one, chances are you're going to fight her one day. Yeah.
So you spar with guys all the time.
Yeah, most of my sparring partners in Singapore, they're mostly guys, I would say.
What's your favorite sparring partners?
My favorite sparring partners.
Can give some names, it's okay.
Kai Xiong. Yeah, he has been helping me out for a lot of my fights.
You said you were from Impact before you came here, right?
Oh yeah, I was
There's
training at
There's
Impact.
a guy who used to be signed.
Nicole?
UFC.
Right, Ryston.
Yeah, right. And he's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first UFC fighter in
Yeah,
Singapore.
he's
right?
the first UFC fighter since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you?
I wrote with him, did grapple a bit with him once or twice.
There's a misconception that people think UFC is another step above 1FC.
I would say that the level of fighters, some of the 1FC fighters, they can take on like UFC fighters. I would say, yeah. So
It's just the scale of the promotion is different because UFC is like a billionaire company.
yeah, and he has been around for longer, and yeah, in US there's a huge following for.
I asked the Black Panther Alan Ngalani why didn't he sign to UFC. His answer to me was that he 1FC has been treating him very well. They even triple or quadruple his pay, and also that UFC management are not known for their friendliness to the fighters. So he said that he wanted to stay loyal to 1FC because they've been super nice to
treating
him.
really nice, yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know much about the UFC side. Like I don't have any friends, or I don't really know any fighters signed to UFC. Yeah, so I'm not sure how the management is treating the fighters.
they've already given you notice roughly when you have your next fight.
No, I haven't received any news yet.
Okay,
So
it's just now just for you to recover and
yeah, I'm pretty much recovered. I'm back into training. I'm hoping
There's
to
no
fight.
off period for you, is it? Oh, do you have any off period?
Like I try to rest, but I don't know. I just can't sit still. I guess like if I rest too much, I feel like I need to go train. It's like part of my life.
How do you prepare for your fight? How many weeks of your training camp is it?
Ideally, 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8. So walk us through the 8 weeks. What is prepared for you?
So there will be like the martial art aspects, which is like boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, and
Just
grappling.
ensure to sharpen your technical
Yeah, so
technical side.
yeah, so and also the strength and conditioning part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the first 4 weeks, I would say 4 to 6 weeks.
Managed by different people, right? Like
Yeah,
you know.
it's all managed by
And
different people.
So who makes sure that you have like someone to take care of everything for you?
No, like I'm the one making sure that
Or you make all the
getting.
decisions for yourself?
I'll ask people for advice. I'll talk to Major and ask him what he thinks of this training program.
Okay.
Like before my last fight, the one in Singapore, I had a training program and I discussed with my SNC coach and Major, and I showed them the whole program I have for the 6 weeks. Yeah, and asked them what are their thoughts. So we made some changes here and there. Yeah. So I also have to listen to my body. Like sometimes after a hard session, you just feel so drained and you might have to forego your later session. Yeah, if it's not going to be productive. So you got to
because you want to be productive all the
yeah.
time. Diet wise, how do you maintain? Do you eat whatever you want for the whole training camp, or just eat clean all the time?
I'm not a fan of eating clean. Yeah, I'm really bad at it.
Okay.
Like now I'm off season, my diet is so bad. Like I just baked brownies yesterday.
Okay. So you can bake as well.
Oh yeah, I used to bake a lot. Like
is that your hobby, baking?
Yeah, I love baking, like brownies, cakes, biscuits.
Okay. What else can you bake? Do you cook as well?
Oh yeah, I cook, but I prefer baking than cooking. Yeah,
You like the smell of it in the
I
oven?
just like sweet stuff. Like I have a really sweet tooth, chocolate and all. Yeah.
So chocolate is your favorite flavor?
Yeah, chocolate.
Yeah. So you bake chocolate stuff all the time?
Yeah, most of the time chocolate. Sometimes cheesecake.
What's your go-to food?
Like junk food.
Junk food.
That's a lot. Pizza and beer.
You like pizza and beer?
Yeah,
like Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, that's always my go-to after fights too. Like after fight, like I like to celebrate with let's get some pizza and beer. It's the usual go-to. Yeah, but for my camps, when I'm preparing for my fights, I'll try to eat clean, but it's not like the crazy,
Does it affect you, if you don't eat clean? Like, if you eat too many oily food, I'm pretty sure
yeah,
it
that's the
affects
thing.
your training,
I'm not sure if it's just a placebo effect or if I
Mm.
really feel it. Because when I start eating cleaner, I feel like it's like good fuel. But I don't know if it's really if it's really just the food or it's just me mentally telling myself, you're eating clean, you should feel. So I'm not sure, but eating clean helps me feel like I'm in better shape and getting better.
Are you
better
allowed to take
nutrition.
supplements like BCAAs? I mean, not like
supplements. It's okay.
It's okay, right?
Yeah.
Do you any supplements that you take?
I take BCAAs.
Okay.
Because especially I have back-to-back training sessions.
It's quite essential, right, for recovery.
Yeah, for recovery. Yeah.
After your latest fight,
Mm-hmm.
what aspect of your training that you like that you felt that you need to improve?
Honestly, I feel like I need improvements in all aspects. Like that. Yeah, I thought I've been thinking a lot after that
But
loss.
you say your opponent was aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that you are not an aggressive fighter? Or you just wait for your opponent to come to you and then you...
Yeah, I feel like I've changed a lot as a fighter since I started. Like if you see how I fought during my first professional MMA fight until now, I feel like I've changed in my style of fighting. Like when I first started, because I was still pretty new to grappling, when I had my first professional fight, I was just a white belt in grappling. Like I felt like striking was more of my strength. Like I knew I could grapple, I could get out of bad position, but I would prefer to just strike. So most of my first few fights, they were mostly just striking.
Yeah, I saw you boxing the other day. You can actually really, really box. Like, it's like, and it's, for you doing striking in MMA, I wouldn't say it's similar, but like in a boxing ring, there's a whole different psychology to it.
It's pretty different.
It's really impressive that you can,
Yeah, because I
switch.
started with boxing.
Have you done any boxing matches before?
Yeah, I've did like 6, maybe 5 or 6 amateur boxing fights before I switched to MMA.
Talking about your fight record, do you feel like there's a pressure for people to be undefeated?
I don't know about other fighters, but for me, I did feel the pressure to remain undefeated. Yeah, I guess the pressure did get to me a little bit. But I don't know about other fighters though. Like I've been talking to some other fighters. They were saying like, one of the key things they have to realize is that it's just a matchup and taking the fights at the right time sometimes. Yeah, I feel like if you come to terms with this, it's like there will be lesser pressure on you when you enter a fight. Like I said just now, I've been thinking a lot after this loss, like, what to work on, the psychological aspect of like the whole mental prep leading to a fight. So I'm really hungry and excited to fight again. And I've been working on a lot of things like grappling, striking, wrestling. Yeah.
But your latest loss is a great fight. It's not like, a Ronda Rousey,
it went
a few
the
second
distance.
knockout. There's nothing to be ashamed about. That being said, I'm not saying that, Ronda Rousey needs to be ashamed, because it's very harsh, things just happen.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Whether you're a world class fighter or not.
Exactly. You can be like a world class, grappler, wrestler.
It's just the chain of events that happens is just out of your control. It doesn't define you on your quality of your fighting prowess and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about your hobbies. Okay, so when you're not fighting or training, what do you enjoy doing?
I do a lot of yoga.
You're into yoga as well?
Yeah, I'm into yoga. And
is it like hot yoga?
Sometimes I do hot yoga, but I prefer non-hot classes.
But that still helps your fighting.
That's why I started yoga. To help with my fighting.
Your body as well.
Yeah, flexibility, and I realized that it really helps with jiu-jitsu, being flexible, and injury prevention also. Because when I started yoga after I had a nerve injury on my shoulder, so I was told that the muscles around my shoulder was like really tensed up and I need to stretch a lot more. I didn't really buy into it at first.
That's where Jared came in. He's like shoulder. He's a shoulder expert.
I started working with him and I was like, I feel so much better.
He really knows his stuff.
He knows. Ever since I worked with him, I haven't been getting injured on my shoulder as frequent. After doing yoga for a bit, I decided to go for the teacher's training. So I'm a certified yoga teacher. And besides then, yoga.
Which yoga outlet do you go?
I did my teacher training at Yoga Mandala, but usually I'll go to Yoga Movement.
Doesn't that belong to the lady with the scoliosis?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like,
have you met her personally?
Yeah, I met her in person.
Very inspiring person.
Yeah, I love talking to her. She's a really great person to talk to. So I went to a yoga studio and she told me I have scoliosis. I didn't know that at all.
You?
Yeah, I have scoliosis.
She told you have scoliosis?
Yeah, she told me I have scoliosis.
How did she know?
Depending on how severe it is, sometimes you can see from the way people stand. So, I guess because she has it, so she knows, what are the things to look out for. So she told me and I was really surprised because I was with a chiro for like a year. Like, he never told me that I have scoliosis. You would imagine that a chiro would notice it before a yoga teacher. So after that, I changed my chiro, obviously. So after I realized I got scoliosis and she was telling me, how yoga can help me with my scoliosis and all. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I took the yoga teacher training course. Yeah.
Well, is it scary to know that you have scoliosis? But I mean, it's not like major scoliosis, right?
It's just not
like... I have mild scoliosis as well. I went to physiotherapist, but he told me that my spine was like, it's a bit curved. But he said that everyone's built differently.
Yeah.
So I think one way or another, I think most people have scoliosis, whether they
it's
know
just
or not.
how bad it is, I guess. Yeah. So mine, I went to check it out. It's not too bad. I can still train and all. It's not going to affect my fighting. So I'm like, I'll just keep stretching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you watch any TV shows? Or are you into movies?
Netflix, I watch. I'm into this series, Black Mirror. It's really, really awesome. So how it works is like every episode, every episode is like a new story. I can't remember the name of the character, but there's this episode that I really like. Do you watch Black Mirror?
No. No, but I've talked to people who watched it. Like, I'm just a Game of Thrones guy.
I did watch Game of Thrones for a bit, but I didn't get past like the third or fourth episode. I'm like, nah, I'm done. I'm like,
because you binge watch the episode. It's a gradual thing. You have to really let it get to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find the episode that I like.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's kind of like a futuristic kind of drama. So it's like telling you what will happen. What they think will happen in 20, 30 years down the road when technology is really good.
Okay.
So there's this episode on dating. So you know how we have Tinder now. So it's like an upgraded version of Tinder. They will tell you, once you match with this person, they will tell you how long your relationship will last.
What? Okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna change the game altogether, right? If you know, I'm just gonna last like a day with this guy. So it was, it's kind of mind blowing.
There's an algorithm that determines your chemistry with the person.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I guess your personality and all. Yeah.
Okay. Have you watched the latest Avengers movie, or are you not a fan?
Oh, I did. Black Panther.
The latest Avengers trailer. Have you watched that?
Trailer. No.
The Infinity War trailer. Oh, but you did watch Black Panther.
Yeah, I watched Black Panther.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good.
It was really good, right?
Yeah, I loved it.
Everyone walked out of the movie mimicking the way they
Oh
talk.
yeah. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, even my friends, they started.
You are not a king. You mentioned to me earlier that there's not many females in your division.
Yeah, like I can only name like a handful of them. Like I would say it's a pretty small division, but one championship, yeah, I see them, signing a lot
more
signing
to
new
expand.
female fighters. But it takes time for these fighters to gain experience and all.
Not a lot from Singapore, right? Oh.
For Singaporean fighters, female fighters, I only know Mei Ui. Kirsty, she used to fight for one, but now I think she switched to professional boxing. Kirsty Ganaway, yeah. So, yeah, Singaporean female fighters, I think it's just me and Mei Ui.
Okay.
Yeah, in one championship.
Do you know a lot of females who are training to get signed to UFC? Is there?
No, in Singapore, nah. I feel like
there's not a lot of people, but I know.
Yeah,
doesn't Evolve have girls who are very
I'm
interested?
sure they have girls who are interested in MMA, but I don't train there, so I don't really know what's going on there. Yeah, but yeah, they have a really good fight team and all. I wouldn't be surprised if there are girls, who start training there and decide that they want to fight. Yeah.
What would your advice be for females who are training towards being in your division?
I would say
Eat well.
Eat well, and yeah, have an end goal. I would say like this goal can be always like changing and all, but you have to know what you're working towards too, and yeah, there will be challenges along the way, and yeah, for sure you'll
do not let the fight record.
And it's really cliche. Like you'll face challenges, and you just have to remind yourself, why you started, and just never lose sight of the end goal. Yeah, there will be times that you doubt yourself, you question yourself whether you're really meant for this. Yeah, especially after a loss, all this question just keeps pouring in, and yeah, you just have to tell yourself.
It's easy to get demoralized, right?
Yeah,
because
it's really
of the pressure
easy.
of the business.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like the biggest opponent is not the person you're fighting.
It's yourself.
It's your own mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, any message for people who are big fans of you?
Yeah, like I'm really thankful for all of their support, especially after my last fight. I received like so many messages.
Very overwhelming.
It was really overwhelming because like I said, I couldn't open my eyes for like 2-3 days, so I couldn't check my phone at all.
I cannot even cry.
Yeah, like I have to force myself to not cry. Like it was the worst feeling ever. Yeah, so when I checked my phone, like my WhatsApp was like 500 over messages, and then I went to Messenger. Yeah, it was just a lot of messages. At first I was pretty down about the loss, and after receiving and reading all these messages, I felt better, like having all this support. Yeah.
Okay, how can people reach you?
Can find me on Instagram, Tiffany MMA, or on my Facebook page. You just
Why not Tiffany Teo? Why you put Tiffany MMA? That's actually one question which when I wanted to look for your Instagram, I searched for Tiffany Teo. Then I realized that the Instagram handle was actually Tiffany MMA.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's easy to remember, I guess. Like my name and the sports I specialize in.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good. All right, at Tiffany MMA.
Yeah, at Tiffany MMA on Instagram.
Okay. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Thanks for your time.
All right, bye.
Bye.